Hey there, Westchester University alumni. My name is Justin Sachoka. I am from the class of 2014, and this is Ramblings Live. Welcome into what is my little studio here in my house. This is great because I get to come down and hang out with all of you, and we get to hang out with a whole bunch of different alumni as we've been doing for the past several weeks. Now, I have our live stream up right over here. So any comments, go ahead and add in there. Say hello to Connor, who we're going to introduce here in just a second. But as I think many of you know, we love to do giveaways here on Ramblings Live. And a really popular giveaway lately has been the mask giveaway. So we're going to continue it on. You see the mask up on your screen. If you want to win that, we're going to change this up. I want to ask you a question because a lot of us, we went to Westchester University or have a tie to Westchester University, and that's all in common. But where did we all go to high school? So I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania, right outside of Scranton in a town called Clark Summit, and I went to Abington Heights High School. So any other 570 people joining us, chime in and let us know. But answer with where you went to high school, and that's how you will be entered in this week to win the WCU mask. Now, we're going to bring in my guest, who is the president of the Chester County History Center, and he's been the president of the Chester County History Center for the last 4 weeks. He's brand new into the position. We're going to talk all about that. But before that, we know that Connor graduated in 2008 from Westchester University. But Connor, where did you go to high school?
I went to Pencrest. I'm a Delco guy.
A Delco guy. All right. So you've always stayed. You're from this region, and you stayed in this area. But I've learned what Delco is. I had no idea what that was when I went to Westchester. Leaving Westchester, I heard lots of stories about Delco.
Yeah, it seems like more and more people have been hearing about Delco. Yeah, we're an interesting group, to say the least.
Well, it's a I know of a couple people that have moved there since leaving Westchester, and I've been to many places in Delco before. Media is in Delco, right?
That's actually where I grew up. I grew up in Media.
Oh, I love Media. I love the Dining Under the Stars. It's fantastic.
Yep, they do a great job there. No, it's a lot nicer than when I grew up. It's a fancy place now.
Media is nice. So we're going to dive into all of this, Connor. I want to thank you for joining us here on Ramblings Live with us. And we want to go over and say hello to Margot Moss, who's joining us as well, who went to Jackson Memorial High School in Jackson, New Jersey. So we're going to see where everybody went to high school, because we all went to Westchester. We all ended up in Westchester, Pennsylvania. But where did everybody come from? So that, of course, is what the question is for today, to be entered to win the mask. Any other questions that you have, we can bring them up on here for Connor. Connor, it's great to see you. I appreciate you taking the time to join us. And I imagine that jumping into a new position just 4 weeks ago, your schedule's probably a little bit busy right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of catch up as what happens when you ever go into a new job. But going into a leadership position in a nonprofit during COVID, there's a little bit of running we got to do right now.
Yeah, I can imagine. So we're going to dive into the job, what it is that you do, and all of that. But before we get there, I want to know what led you to becoming the president of the Chester County Historical Society. So we know now that you're from Delco. You grew up in Media. What brought you to Westchester University?
It was Westchester. When I was looking for colleges in the area, I'm one of those guys who likes to be around family, and my family was all in this area. And I actually had some friends who went to Westchester, so I got a chance to visit them for some time and got to really like the campus. So when it was time to apply, that's where I wanted to go.
Okay.
When I came to Westchester, the first thing that came to my mind when it was major was history. It was kind of a natural progression.
So have you always been a history buff then?
I am a history nerd through and through. I was raised to enjoy museums. My parents took me to museums in the city like my entire childhood.
Okay.
So when I came to Westchester and I did that sit down, point where you have to decide what you want to do, it just kept coming back to history. I enjoyed the story aspect.
I was just going to ask, what is it about history that you enjoy the most? And I mean, you just said the storytelling, but also, is there a specific era that you really like?
It changes. It changes from every couple of months. When I was at Westchester, I was American history. Then I went into some early Judeo-Christian, Roman, ancient world kind of history. But it changes here and there. But yet, no, history is is amazing. When history is done well, when you hear the stories, when you learn the lessons that we so often miss from the past,
Yeah.
it really has an implication in today, in your daily life, and the decisions that we make throughout this world. It's something that really needs to be focused on, and all too often it's not.
I remember talking with somebody about history, because I think that when we think about history in general as a subject for schools, universities, the professor or that teacher is what kind of makes or breaks it for you. And I remember I guess it was my seventh, or no, it was my, I guess I don't remember that well. It's ancient history at this point. My ninth grade, Mr. Burke, who actually is a Westchester University alum himself, he was really good and made everything that story. I mean, he was really good at storytelling and got everybody engaged. The following year, that teacher was a little bit dry, and he was retiring, and it just wasn't as exciting. I mean, you can read a book and it's what you make of it, but when
Yep.
you have a person that you can speak to that can help to bring it to life, I think that that makes really any subject just what is so compelling about it. But specifically with what it is that you do, let's talk about that. As the president of the Chester County Historical Center, you have to bring history to life every single day. And I imagine that you have to find engaging ways to do so.
Yeah, the key is trying to find ways of engagement through the different audiences that you have. And we're about to reopen. We've been closed this whole shutdown since March,
Wow.
redoing our exhibitions, which it was perfect timing because for the first time in 20 years, we're redoing our core exhibitions,
Oh, wow.
and retelling the story of 300 years of Chester County. But
It's
it's
amazing.
all through how do you engage these different audiences? How do you reach out to the K through 12? Normally you're doing it through tour groups and getting them involved. Now we're in the digital world. We're in the COVID world. Senior centers, adults, families. It's always about trying to find that method of engagement, of sharing these stories, sharing histories, and making it relevant to the people today.
Where is the History Center? For anybody that doesn't know, where can they go to? You're talking about this reopening. Where is that?
We are at 225 North High Street. So if you're going up High Street, we're a block down from Iron Hill on Chestnut.
They
So it's a place that everybody should know exists, but not
not
everybody does.
really. I mean, I know exactly where you guys are. I've been there for several events before,
Yep.
but I don't think I've actually walked into the building to go through the History Center before. I've been there for different events. Here is an example of something that you were getting set up and getting ready for within the reopen. What can someone that walks through those doors expect?
I would say, starting off, what you can expect is core exhibitions that are in line with anything that you're going to see in the city in Philadelphia.
Oh, wow.
We are telling the story of 300 years of Chester County, from the first settlers coming here and meeting the Lenape to the Revolutionary War and the Battle of Brandywine. Fast forwarding through Underground Railroad, temperance, Civil War, the business and industry in this area, the mass production of penicillin, which happened here in Westchester. So we have a lot of really great engaging stories, and the artifacts that are in our collection, they're going to blow your mind.
I find the history of Westchester. There's little tidbits of information that I've come across when I was looking for an apartment, and I looked at Sharplow's works and learned about the history of the milk separation and all this massive industry that was in Westchester. The Commodore Computer Factory that
Yep.
is now QVC was all based in Westchester. I mean, there's lots of history throughout Chester County. What are some of the most surprising or most interesting things that you have stumbled upon learning when putting different things together?
Well, it's interesting. Well, when you talk about Sharpless and the cream separator,
Yeah,
you're talking about
or cream
centrifuge
separator.
and how the development of the centrifuge led to the work that Raymond Rittu did in developing mass producing a penicillin. He was the first person. Again,
Oh,
his
wow.
his lab was here in Westchester, and he was one of the first people who was able to mass produce penicillin. And the estimates are anywhere from 100 to 400,000 people that he saved during World War II because of this. The
That's
stories
incredible.
we have, oh, it's amazing. And we have stories like this across the revolutionary times of heroes and people who were persecuted through civil war and the volunteers. We have Galusha Pennypacker, who is one of the first and youngest brigadier generals in American history, and we have his Medal of Honor from the Civil War in our collection right now on display.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
we have some great stories.
Have you come across anything in the exhibits and the displays that you put together that you were mesmerized to be able to hold or to witness or to see? Is there anything that because I imagine there's got to be some pretty significant pieces and some pretty cool things that come across your desk.
Yeah, I've heard about a lot of our collection that I haven't seen. We have a letter from George Washington.
No way.
We have a chair that Lincoln sat in. But one thing that came into my office by accident is we have a photography archive with over 100,000 photographs throughout the history of this county.
Wow.
And people come to us asking for copies of negatives of films for use in publications, in research. And sometimes we have accidents that the duplicates don't look good, so we just kind of throw them away.
Mm-hmm.
And before they throw away the box of incorrect duplicates, I kind of wanted to go through to see them. And I came across these negatives, and they were of Frederick Douglass. And
No
I'm
way.
looking at, we have a photograph of Frederick Douglass, and they go, oh no, we have one of the first daguerreotypes ever made with his image on it, and that's in our collection.
That's incredible.
It's a really amazing piece, and when you see the image, it's absolutely amazing and shocking.
So, for anyone that wants to come and see the collections, and we're talking about the history of Westchester and Chester County right now. So, anybody that is jumping onto our live stream, this is Conor, who is the president of the Chester County Historical Society, who is here with us. And if there is anybody that is curious about what Ramblings Live is, this is where we connect with different alumni. Conor graduated in 2008 from Westchester University, and his love of history, he turned into a profession and was recently named the president of the Chester County Historical Center. So that's what we're talking about now if you're just jumping in. And we're going to talk about Conor's history here in just a second. But what I want to know first is, if anybody finds themselves in the Westchester area, they come back to visit campus, they're strolling through and they want to make an afternoon of it, your center is opening up. It's reopening again on what day? And then how does somebody enter it? Is there a cost to come inside? What do you see? Give us the rundown for anyone that might want to visit.
Sure. So we are going to be reopening mid-October for members, and then October 29th, I believe, for the public. We've been shut since March 13th, so this is going to be our grand opening. We're taking it very slow during COVID, so we're going to be open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays by reservation only. So every hour, we're going to have one spot available. So if you want to visit Justin, you can sign up and come during that hour. If you want to sign up and you want to bring 10 of your family members, your bubble can visit during that hour, and you're going to have an exclusive access during that 1 hour to the collection.
Wow.
We want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to see the collection, but we really want to do it so that everybody feels like they're going to be safe during COVID.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody appreciates that as well, that you're taking those precautions.
We want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to go out. Who doesn't want to be, outside of their house these days?
I want to know how COVID has affected your job, and to piggyback off of that as well, I would imagine a lot of people obviously have been spending a lot more time at home this year than they ever would have imagined. Have you had people reach out with things that they found as they're going through old boxes, as they're cleaning out the attic? How has your job been affected in all of this?
So when it comes to people reaching out, we have people reaching out to us all the time, and we do collect from the community, but it's based off of what the artifact is, and also if we can find the history behind it. We have a lot of people who want to give us 300-year-old furniture, but if we don't know the story behind it, we have a lot of furniture already.
Got it.
It's all about the stories so that we can actually share the history of the county. When it comes to my job, as I am new to it, but our industry has really been decimated by COVID. Museums and nonprofits across the country have really been hurt and hit real hard by COVID. We tend to be about 10 to 15 years behind most for-profit industries. So the catch up for us is really tough. Moving digital, finding ways to do programming digital, finding ways of growing revenue streams is difficult to us. So, just to stick this in there, if anybody's willing to buy a membership, interested in supporting a nonprofit that tells the story of Chester County, you can always go to our website. We're up for memberships and donations.
There you go. So, and what is the website? Like, so that we can get that out there.
It's chestercohistorical.org.
Okay, there you go.
A better link for that one.
Getting a different URL.
Yeah.
If someone wants to donate a new URL as well, I'm sure that you would be open to that.
I'm up. Just give me an email.
So let's talk about your history here now. You came from media, you went to Westchester, and we know that you told us already that you were in love with Westchester. You wanted to go there. What did you study at WCU, and what was your major?
I studied history and anthropology, and history was my major. I got involved in taking history courses, and I started having people like, I don't know if Dr. Hewitt's gone, Dr. Jim Jones is gone, and Dr. Friedman, who I believe is still at the university, Dr. Thames Taylor, she is still at the university. I actually spoke to her a couple weeks ago. So there's a lot of professors that, helped me along the way that are still with the university.
And when you were at Westchester, what was the dream job? What did you want to accomplish?
Like I said, I'm a history nerd. So I wanted to be a curator. I thought there was nothing better to spend an entire career in the bowels of a museum looking at old artifacts and just writing up their stories. After doing that for some time I was at the Franklin Institute when I got my first real experience there. I realized I actually liked the business operations of nonprofits more than being around the artifacts. And that's where I kind of switched over. Yeah.
That's funny. I have a similar story where I went to Westchester University saying that I wanted to be a radio DJ. Like, that's where I wanted to go after. And so I wanted to go after. And I worked in radio when I was in high school and got an internship and then got a job out of it. And everyone talked about working at the radio station in Philadelphia, 92.5 XTU. And I was able to get an internship there with the morning show, and all these people that talked about, like, this is it, this is the spot. And I went there on day one of the internship, I remember leaving being like, that was it. That's what everybody wanted to do. And literally day one of that internship, I changed paths and said, I'm going after television instead. Never mind. I'm not going to do radio anymore. And it's interesting how that experience, though, for you too, where you get exposed to things. So Westchester University, for both of us, it sounds like, was able to give us experiences that, even though we thought we wanted one thing, we kind of learned something about ourselves. It was like, no, we don't really want to do that as much instead. And I know there's so many people that watch that probably have had similar stories and experiences to what it was that we've had as well. What are some of your favorite memories from Westchester University?
First, just a step back. You have a good radio voice. I gotta say that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You would have been good at it if you enjoyed it.
I thank you.
I think the biggest memories I have from Westchester are the people that I met. Some of the best friends that I connected with. There's Thomas Garullo. He is a lawyer in Scranton now. Mickey Snyder, he works for Susquehanna. He's in the area. Okay. My wife I met while I was working at Iron Hill and going to school. There you go. It's funny. All the connections that I made while I was going to school, they're still my friends and still part of who I hang out with, and I spend my time even with my family.
Yeah, that's awesome. I similarly am close with so many people that I graduated with, and my closest friends came from Westchester University. Margot saying that she went to Westchester for sociology and ended up in the nonprofit world, and she absolutely loves it. She's not doing what she ever thought she would be doing, but she seems to be extremely happy with what it is, and she works over at the foundation as well. Just to remind everybody, we're asking where everyone went to high school. So did you go to high school? Comment and let us know. I went to Abington Heights High School. Connor, where was it that you went?
Pencrest
High School. Let us know where it is that you went to high school. You'll be entered to win a WCU mask. We're going to pick a random person that answers that question within the next 24 hours, and we'll send you a message to let you know if you are our winner. Where did you live? Were you on campus or off campus when you were at Westchester?
Well, first, Margot, if she answers you, I want to know what kind of nonprofit she works at, because that would be fun to get a hold of.
She works at the foundation, at the Westchester University Foundation.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's great.
So close to WCU. And right down the road from you as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I bounced all over town. I think, can't remember if my dorm was Tyson or Goshen.
I was Tyson.
I think I might have been Tyson. Is that the one that's right on the corner?
The corner, it went Goshen, Tyson, and then I want to say Ramsey, but it was gone before I was there.
I think it was Tyson then.
Okay, Tyson would have been in the middle then.
Yeah, and so I was there, and then I just bounced around campus. I was on South Walnut, Union Street. I worked at Jefferson Westtown, outside of town. So I was
okay. You got the tour of Westchester.
Oh yeah, every other year it was like, we have to pay more. All right, let's find another place to live.
My brother moves every single year. It's right around May is when we get the call, and I'm conveniently away, so that I don't have to help move, because after 4 times of doing it, it's a little tiring. Let's go ahead.
Pickup truck.
I have friends I have one friend in particular who got rid of his pickup truck because he got sick and tired of helping people move. Let's find out. We're going to ask you a few questions about Westchester now and see. It's called This or That. So we're going to give you 2 things, and you've got to tell us which one you would prefer: Jake's Bar or the Rat. Which one are you going to go with?
Oh, Jake's Bar.
That same choice. I love Jake's Bar.
I was poor and I was not a rat guy.
Old Main or New Main? I'm going to say that Old Main probably wasn't around when you were there.
Yeah,
in 2008.
That's the New Main.
New Main for you. New Main for me as well. Wawa or 7-Eleven?
Oh, Wawa. Come on.
Now, if it was Wawa or Sheetz, for me, I'm going to have to go with Sheetz. I've claimed that several times. Made a few enemies in the process, but I'll stick with
rightfully
Wawa.
so.
Ardmore, that's the town. Amores or Rigtown?
I like Amores.
I feel like this is one of those things people will get into fistfights over between the 2 of them. Are you a beach guy or a pool guy? Which one are you going to prefer?
Well, I would say I go to the shore.
Go to the shore. Okay, so we'll change the answer altogether. Shore or pool, and you're going with the shore. Beer or wine?
Beer.
Beer guy over there. Books or TV?
Books.
I was going to not try and make the assumption, but I kind of assumed with all the books that are behind you, you might be answering about books. Cake or pie? Which one do you go with?
This is a problem in my house. I'm a cake guy, and my wife makes pies, so there's issues there.
Got it. Understood. Are you going to call someone or are you going to text somebody?
I call. I like talking to people.
I'm the exact same way. It makes sense why we're both doing a live video right now, since we're both talkers here. Seth Birch chiming in, and he's saying, does the Chester County History Center offer internships for students interested in history and exhibit curation? That's a really great question, Seth. Thanks for asking that. If anyone else has any other questions, feel free to go ahead and comment. And Connor, are there internships available?
Yeah, we usually have a nice group of interns that come in each year. What I would say is there are a lot of plans on what we want to do in the future. For me, it's definitely having a closer tie to the university, and setting up, there's a museology undergrad that's going there. You have the archaeology, anthropology museum in the old library. There's a lot of connections that we can be making, a lot more ties. And I think that in the next year or two, we're going to be connected way more than we have been in the past.
That's great. And I think that anything that is in town, it makes sense that students are able to go there and partake in some way. I mean, it's crazy, as I'm sure you can attest to as well, how different downtown Westchester is now with no students being there, or at least very limited students that are there. And it really just, I think, reminds us how much life is just brought by the university into the downtown Westchester, and into the businesses and to just the overall environment. And
absolutely,
it's for you an interesting time to be in the position that you're in, because history is being written I mean, every day, but especially now, and how people are adapting, and how everything has changed in this world. What is your take on it? Being somebody who's a history buff, and seeing how the world has reacted to pandemics in the past. Not that this is something that you necessarily study, but I'm just interested in what it is that your take is on all of this that's going on.
I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about how we have to learn from the past and understand how things have evolved. So we're in a pandemic now. We know for a fact that we had the Spanish influenza 100 years ago. We're dealing with the situation with Black Lives Matter. We've been dealing with the civil rights movement forever. We have all kinds of things that are happening now in this moment. We are in a moment of history that people will be looking back on 20, 40, 50, 100 years from now. And our reactions are almost as a surprise, or we don't know how to handle this. We can always look into the past and learn and grow if we're willing to learn and look at those lessons. This is a very significant moment in history, and some organizations are doing a good job of capturing it and starting to tell it. Some are kind of getting there, but this is something that's going to be key for, especially for us, programming moving forward, is addressing how this is a moment in time, but we need to look at the historical points in the past and how they relate, how they correlate.
That's really, really well said. And for people who are interested in maybe diving into a little bit more history, specifically Chester County, the Chester County Historical Center is open. It's right in the center of Westchester. It's opening, rather, on the 29th for the public. And for members, you said it was an earlier date. What date was that?
I believe it's October 14th. It's mid-October.
Mid-October. Okay, sorry. So I'm thinking September 29th. Mid-October for members, non-members at the end of October. So sometime October soon.
Yep.
And you can head over to their website, which I'm going to have you say that again.
It is, I know it's bad. Chester Co. Historical. So Chester Co. Historical.org. Or if you just Google us, you'll find us. We're working on the website.
It's the website will soon, that URL will be history. So
yes.
Much like everything else that you can learn over at the Historical Center. I'm going to leave you with this question here from Seth Birch again. Besides the Chester County Historical Center, what is your favorite museum to visit? Great question.
That would be the Penn Museum. So the University of Pennsylvania Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology. I got a chance to work there for 7 years, and while I was there, I got to touch a 1,500-year-old mummy and hold a 5,000-year-old brick that had somebody's footprint in it. So there's some incredible stuff there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Conor, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Ramblings Live. We appreciate you coming back to connect with all the fellow alumni that were watching and answering everybody's questions as they popped up. And if anybody has any other further questions for Conor, of course, you can head on over to the Historical Center's website and reach out. As we said, he's the president of the Chester County Historical Center, which is right in the center of Westchester. Stay safe, Conor, in all of this, and I wish you the best of luck with reopening everything in the new position.
Thank you, Justin. Everybody, if you want to reach out, please do. I love hearing from everybody, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Conor. We'll see you soon. Hey, coming up on Ramblings Live for October, we're doing one every single week. So make sure that you come back and join us for that. I've been teasing a little bit about how we have somebody who's has created something amazing. The founder of MapQuest is from Westchester University, and he's going to be joining us on Ramblings Live. I cannot wait to be able to talk to him. Who knew that the founder of MapQuest graduated from WCU? Every single week throughout October, we're going to have somebody new here, and we have a whole lineup all the way through the end of the year. So come on back for Ramblings Live. And if you want to connect with other current students, Ram Nation is the way to go ahead and do that. So it's a great way for you to be able to connect with current students at Westchester University who are looking for a little bit of guidance and a little bit of help. So if you think that you might be somebody who can do that, head on over to wcualumni.org/RamNation for more information on that and to help get signed up as well. I'm Justin Sachoka. This has been Ramblings Live. We appreciate you coming here and hanging out with us, and appreciate Conor hanging out with us as well. Stay safe, and we will see you for our very first homecoming edition in the first week of October. See you then.